Hey, Student Success, this is it. You have made it. We are in week 16. This is the last week of the semester. So congratulations. I am really excited for everyone that our summer break is right here. So before we get there, however, we've just got to wrap up a few things in the course. So as always, and for the last time, your student services assignment is due this week. It's due by the end of week 16. Week 16 is opening early. As I mentioned in a previous video, I like to open it early because the week ends on a Friday. So week 16 is going to run from Friday, May 6th, that's the early open date, until Friday, May 13th. May 13th is the last day of the session. I work on grades and finishing those up over the weekend. So everything is due by May 13th, Friday. That also includes your student services assignment. So please make sure that you get your workshop certificate of completion uploaded into this Dropbox by Friday, May 13th. Or if you need to send it to me in an email or an attachment in your course messages, whatever works, please just make sure you get that to me by that date. Okay. So as I have been doing as well, and some of you have been taking advantage of, week 1 was open previously. I believe it was in week 13 I reopened that. And then week 2 has been reopened, week 3, and I'm going to give you a chance to work on week 4. I am going to open up week 4 for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of week 16. So the 9th, 10th, 11th. So it's open just the first few days of that full week. So if you have anything from week 4 that you would like to make up, it was just a chapter 4 assignment, that is going to be available the 9th, 10th, 11th. That's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So take advantage of that if you missed that week 4 assignment, as I have seen, as I mentioned, a couple of you taking advantage of weeks 1, 2, and 3 opening. Okay, so I'm going to scroll all the way down. We are in week 16. This is chapter 9. As I said, some of you might be watching this video early on Friday, May 6th. So just to kind of get everything done with. So chapter 9 is about the social world of college. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to click on the textbook link. And so this is kind of a unique chapter because, as I've said multiple times in previous videos, everyone in these courses kind of like at different places in their lives. Some of you are still in high school. Some of you are out of high school within the last year to couple years. Some of you have families. And so we're all in these different spaces. But this is another one of those intersections where we all have social lives as well, to some degree. Maybe not as much as we want sometimes. And sometimes we have to cut back on that while we're in school. But this is what chapter 9 talks about, is like the social world of college. And so this is just, as always, like a quick self-assessment. Where are you with kind of your social interactions and the way you deal with people? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? And then what this chapter will focus on. And so this little intro just talks about like, hey, there's a lot of like social components as it relates to the college experience. So this section is for anyone who finds that they have trouble playing nice. I don't know, so, and that's not necessarily the right way to say it, but if you need to maybe improve communication skills, because honestly, I think that's something we could all work on, no matter if we are people or not. We could always kind of improve communication skills, our listening skills, but how we just interact with people in general. So this section, I encourage you to take a look at, like, if you really do just kind of need to brush up on some of these different components of social interaction. And so why is interacting with people important? If you struggle making new friends, and I know that seems kind of strange to say, but as a mom, sometimes I struggle finding like other mom friends. Now, it was difficult for me in the beginning. Now that my kids are all in school, it's been a little easier, going to activities and the PCO and things like that. But, for a little while, that's difficult to make friends, like different stages of your life. So how do you make friends now that you're a college student? How do you make friends in the work environment? How do you make friends in a parent role or whatever it might be? So whatever stage you're in, sometimes there's that adjustment in how you kind of interact with new people. And so this just kind of gives some general tips on that, especially maybe if you're shy, if you're more of an introvert. I am an introvert for the most part in social situations. And so that's something I have to kind of overcome. and how to kind of put myself out there to meet new people. And part of that is communication skills, picking up on not only the verbals, but also the nonverbals, and understanding people's body language and their facial expressions and what all of that means. And so how can we improve our communication? Again, this is the area I think that all of us, no matter where we are in our life, could benefit from, just being a better communicator, whether it's with a significant other, a parent, a friend, whatever that might look like. Just having these kind of abilities to improve our communication. So whether that means like we're asking questions, or we're active listening, we're picking up on that non-verbals. Some other ways, we look for common ground. We're avoiding sarcasm. It's another thing I have to be better at. I'm very sarcastic, and so I have to read the situation and make sure I'm using my sarcasm in appropriate situations socially. So all of these are tips on just how to make those interactions a little bit easier, more productive. This section talks about like social networking, which is obviously a component of like social interaction in our current society. There's a lot of social networking, and how this can be both beneficial as well as just detrimental. And so we have to look at the pros and cons of being on these social networking sites. This section is something, again, I think a lot of us also have to think about, balancing our school and social life. And sometimes that means like saying no, or putting things on the back burner socially while we focus on schoolwork. And so these are things that we've talked about in other chapters, our time management, our energy management, our listening, all of these things that are going to play a role. So if you feel like that is something you struggle with, this section will go a little bit into that. We don't have Greek life on campus, although some of you might be transferring to a four-year who does. And so there's a little information on Greek life. And then conflict resolution, whether that is person you live with. If you don't have like a quote unquote roommate, maybe you have children, you have a spouse, you have something, someone in your home that is not a roommate, but you're still sharing your space with them. And so how do you resolve conflicts with them? How do you communicate with them? So that could kind of be applied in different situations as well. So I think that's a helpful situation regardless. And then pure roommates, especially those of you, if you are going to like a four-year institution afterward, how do you interact with, these people that you've never met before, and now you have to live with them, and how do you kind of navigate those situations, as well as maybe issues with harassment if there's issues there. All right, so the next section then talks about diversity, and how really for many people coming to a college campus, whether it's 2-year like Stark State or 4-year, is one of the most times that they're introduced to all these different diverse groups of people. And so what do we mean by diversity? Well, this goes through a lot of, sometimes we think like diversity, what we can see on the outside, like race, a little bit of ethnicity, gender, but there's so many other different categories, if you will, of diversity. Our educational backgrounds, geography, where we live, our age, our orientations, our religion, all of these different things can make up all of this different diversity, and how beneficial it really is to have these different perspectives. When I was a doc student at Kent State, I had a critical group of friends, and one of them was from Bangladesh. And so anytime we would talk, he would tell us kind of like his perspective on things, and it was really enlightening to kind of just hear about someone who was not from our country, did not have the similar kind of perspective or understanding of things. And it really helped to give us a bigger picture of anything that we were talking about, or put things into a different frame. And so that was neat. So, working with and being exposed to these different types of diversity really does help you see things from different points of view, and can help you as you enter into your workforce, where you're likely to see those different types of diversity as well. So this goes through a lot of those benefits of diversity. And then this talks about like non-traditional students and diversity. So a lot of students in here at Stark State, our average age is around 27. So that's considered non-traditional. And so the benefits that those students bring to our campus, and why it's important to kind of embrace this idea of like diverse and multiculturalism, and equity, and all of these different concepts that associate with that, and how you can kind of just acknowledge how you are diverse and what that means to you and what you can bring to a situation. You know, all of us are diverse in different ways, our backgrounds and our understandings and our beliefs, and how can that be beneficial to the interactions that we have on a daily basis, because it is very much beneficial. So, you know, just kind of thinking about that, as well as the way that we see different people, and do we hold stereotypes or biases, and how can we kind of navigate those situations. And so this section talks a lot about that, and has a little, you know, activity here if you're interested in looking at the different scenarios and what you would do in these situations. All right. This also goes into kind of, if you do understand like your own biases and maybe stereotypes, how can you maybe confront that when you see that happening in other spaces? And then our next section talks about campus groups and getting involved. Now, on our Stark State homepage under info for current students, I believe I've talked about this before, I'm going to bring it up anyway. We have our list of student clubs here, and there are just a ton of different ways to get involved on campus. So there's lots of major related, as you can see, like if you're a criminal justice major, or maybe you're a culinary, and there's things that are just for fun, like the Gamers Guild. Lots of different ways to build your resume, to network with people, to get a little bit of experience in your field, or just release kind of just for that fun aspect. So I encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already, and maybe if you are, you know, coming back here in the fall, look at maybe getting involved in one of these. A lot of them are very low in terms of time requirements, like maybe once a month, or like they have social activities. Sometimes you're allowed to bring like family members too. So it's worth looking into. And so this section talks about like all the benefits of participating in different clubs and organizations, not only for like your resume, but there's a lot of research that will support the more connected you are to your campus. Meaning, if you can't live there, you know, being involved or working on campus, whatever that might be, the more likely you are to not only graduate, but also have a higher GPA, which sounds strange because you're like, oh, if you're spending time, you know, doing activities, how can you have time to study? But there's a lot of correlations. The more you feel like you belong, the more motivated you are to do well. And so there really are lots of benefits. And this goes through a lot of those advantages to being involved. All right, so that is your content for week 16. When you go into the actual assignment, you can see that you have one assignment this week, plus your student services assignment. There's another area, Dropbox there. But your one assignment this week, this is also going to count for your week 16 attendance. So as long as you complete this by Friday, May 13th, you'll get your week 16 attendance. It's the Cultural Intelligence Survey. So this is one of these automatically graded assignments. You'll click, it's going to open up into one of those extra windows, and then it's going to talk to you about
cultural intelligence.
All of the, some of the components we just got done talking about, like diversity and cultural intelligence and things of that nature. So you'll go through, you'll hit next, you'll answer the questions, and then as I mentioned, this is automatically graded assignment. So when you're done, it'll go into the My Grades, it'll copy over into Blackboard, and I'll be able to see it. All right, so as a recap, make sure you spend a little bit of time in chapter 9. Make sure you complete the Cultural Intelligence Survey for week 16 attendance by Friday, 10 p.m. And then make sure you submit your student services assignment. I just want to thank you all for a great semester. I really enjoyed interacting with each of you. I got to meet a couple of you face to face as you came to my office, or if you stopped by when you're on campus. So that's always nice. And always feel free to reach out if you need anything over the summer or the fall or whatever. If you have any questions or need anything, I'm just an email or a stop away. I hope everyone has a great summer and good luck in future semesters. Bye.